Alrighty, okay, whānau. So, like I was just saying, we're just going to get straight into it, and we'll start with you, Lance. If you can just share a bit about yourself and introduce yourself.
Kia ora, Lance Jones. I'm a facilitator for SafeMan, SafeFamily. I run the men's groups with our brother Ward here and a couple of volunteers that come along. Yeah, but about my history, I, like everybody else, I was brought up in that once were warriors living. Suffered all the, what I know now is childhood trauma. And then I became a perpetrator of family violence. Took a lot of my hurt out on the ones that I loved the most. Hurt them pretty bad, but there came a time in my life where I said to myself, I need to deal with my stuff, But at that time, they only had places like Man Alive. So if you did something, you had to go through the court system.
Oh, yeah.
So there was no real 0800 number for us men to go to. So my life experiences led me to meeting Phil in 2012, which I supported a lot of kaupapa that Phil attended. And up to last year, he offered me employment in this mahi. So for me, it's giving back, giving back to the whānau that need a bit of help, a bit of support in whatever shape, way or form that they need it. We can't heal anybody. We're like a GPS to show them the pathways of coming off the roundabout and stuff. And this mahi's been, I love it. Seeing whānau, the husband and the wife together, and meeting them in Pack and Save and that, and they go, man, our whole lifestyle has changed, and the wives are happier with their partners, or the husband's happy with the wife because of the changes they made. Yeah, as we know, domestic violence doesn't discriminate any age or any nationality. Yeah, so that's a bit about me.
Cool, Lance, thank you.
Kia ora, ko Riari Ukage tōku ingoa, ko Parehaka te maunga, ko Hātia te awa, ko Ngā Tupi Mata Whairawa te waka, ko Pehe Awari te marae, and ko Whangare ahau, ko Iu Karaiti tōku rangatira. Well, I'm Riari Ukage. I was born and raised in Whangare. My journey with Brother Phil started about 3-4 years ago. Yes, I just want to acknowledge him first and foremost, for the doors that he's helped open. My lifestyle was a life of alcohol and drug usage with my family, my mother. I was given away at birth, and so I never really had a stable lifestyle of, I was always passed around from auntie to uncle, and then moved on through boys' homes, and so for myself, I never really had much of a place I could call my own, I guess. Like I grew up feeling like I had no parents because I was always passed around, so I was never really stable with single parents or with my parents. It's been a lifelong journey. I've recently just been part of a journey with a residential 12-month residential rehab called Victory House. It's a 12-month minimum, and it was because of this great man here that led me on that journey. I found myself lost due to past traumas or lifelong struggles that I struggled with, and trying to find a purpose in life. I lost my partner, my child. I'm a father of 7, so I've got a lot of sad history there with my children. About 10 years of their lives I haven't been there for them, and my oldest is 13, and she's the love of my life really. But I been through quite a journey. I landed myself in jail. I've been lagging for like 10 years, 10 plus 15 years. I found myself in and out, stuck in a cycle that I didn't want to be a part of, but it became part of my life because it's all that I seen and had in my life. So I remember watching my parents and saying that I never want to be like that, and then I was so conformed to it that it became my lifestyle that I began using drugs and alcohol, and now I see the same cycle happening for my nephews and my nieces, that it's got to stop somewhere, and I made a stand in saying that it's got to stop with me. I've continued to make mistakes through my journey, but the past 2 years has probably been the greatest and biggest change in my life since walking with Brother Phil. You know, he's been there throughout the I'd say 5 years actually in my life that I've fell back into old ways, you know, and I've tried to do my best. I've made changes, but then all of a sudden I muck up again, and I constantly I was living with guilt and shame, and because I've got 7 kids and I couldn't be a father to them. I didn't know why. I didn't understand why I was doing what I was doing, but I was just doing it. And although I wanted and needed to change, I never could do it on my own. And it took for me to open a door to one person that I believe has been the greatest change in my life, and that's Jesus Christ. And I walk strongly with him every day, although I still fall short. Like I'm trying to do my best, and it always takes me to come back to seeing people like Brother Phil that you know, being my mentor. I just changed my life the past 2 years, and now life seems like it's gotten so good for me that all of a sudden one thing can happen that just takes me down again, and once again I fell down another hole, and condemning myself, you know, back into that thought pattern of, oh, you're not good enough, you know, you've made all these changes, you showed everyone this and that, and you know, all of a sudden I've made another mistake and fallen back into that pattern of thinking. So today's a pretty special day for me actually again, because for me it's a godly appointment, you know. It's for me that it's a way that my Lord shows me that you're amongst the right people, the right support, and yeah, I've graduated. Victory House was a big step for me. 6 graduates in 6 years, and it firstly opened with the Bro Phil. So I was down and out. I was in jail, got out, released. I got put back around the same cycle that I wanted to defeat, which is drugs and alcohol. I was sitting amongst the same people. I wanted change. I check on my messenger, green light, it's the Bro Phil, and I just called him and I started boarding out my eyes. This was like 2-3 years ago, and I started telling him, brother, I want to change. And I know he had heard it all before because he had walked with me, seen the change in me, and knew that there was potential and a purpose for me. And I didn't know none of it until I had the support of him. So I called him, and he was down there in Auckland 4 o'clock in the morning, picking me up to bring me back up to a court case here in Whangarei. And it all began from there. I sat in the family courtroom, having stuff read about me that could kill a man, to be honest, like from the things that I had done and the guilt and everything that I held against being a perpetrator of violence, and the things I'd done to my partner, and leaving my son and her at hospital and stuff, and just all these nasty things when they were on a life or death situation. And I just called on the bro, and then he opened the door for me, which then led to more doors being opened. But I needed something to change it, and I couldn't do it on my own. So I'm just thankful for the bro and SafeMan, and I love the co-papa, so I'm out here just being hope for the hopeless, and just as they say, you know, I'm not a dope dealer no more, I'm a hope dealer, and just want to give hope to those that feel hopeless. And just bro's walked me, he's taught me, and he's turned back, like he says, and he's leave no man behind. And a lot of the times I feel like I'm left behind because I have brothers like him always leading afar, but he's always right there by me. So yeah, kia ora.
Wow, cool, bro.
Kia ora, I'm Walt Davis, live in Kaikoe, mahi down here with my brother here and my other brother in Rihari. Sort of run groups with the bro as well, work for Te Mana as well.
Oh
Yeah, and I just, for me, made a whole lot of bad choices, and found myself in bad situations and just wanted to be there for people just like me that are struggling. And yeah, rewarding is this mahi. Being given a position by my brother here to help, and yeah, it's not my work, it's my calling.
Cool. Awesome.
Kia ora.
Ko e au, puke karoro te maunga, ko te kaipara te wahapu te awa, ko mahu ki te rangi i te waka, ko paikia te hiki ua te tangata, ko te iri au te apu, ko ngā te whātua te iwi, ko Peripi Paikia taku ingoa. Kia ora everyone, my name is Phil Paikia. I live here in sunny Ruakaka Beach. Been here for close to 39 years. Brought my family up here. I have my wife sitting in the background there. I've been with her for 45 years, so 36 years married and 45 years deep in the relationship. I love her. I constantly sing her praises every time I get to share my kōrero. And I call her my horangatira tuara, the backbone of my family. And I'm thankful that she stood by me through thick and thin. You know, I was a perpetrator of violence as well. I was a ex-gang member for Black Power back in the 1970s. And got into drugs in a big way, and heroin in 1977, and OD'd 77 down in the South Island. And then I moved back up to Whangarei and started hanging out with my cousins, and yeah, they were hunter-gatherers, but they smoked a lot of pot and drank a lot of plonk, wine, stuff like that. And then it suited me just fine because, you know, that was my lifestyle down in the South Island. But having said that, I met my girlfriend at the time, and she was very special. You know, back in the day, I had a few partners, but I didn't really love them. It was just a comfort thing for me. But then there was something special about this lady, and as a consequence of that, well, we're married now, and I must say, we're happily married. And I actually married her twice just to make sure. And yeah, and so I celebrate that. I sing her praises. So which brings me to the mahi that I do here, which started here in this community as a youth worker and a truancy officer for all the schools in the area, Green Bay College, all the primary schools, and then mentored a few young fellas into youth work. And then when I couldn't fit into kayaks and abseil down waterfalls anymore, I handed all that stuff over to others to take it to a higher level. We started up a group called the Taitukura Youth Workers Network a few years ago, and was made up of quite a few of us were ex-gang members. Didn't know what the heck we were doing, but we did it anyway. And so a lot of my friends that were youth workers, they're in good jobs now. And myself as a social activist. My wife and I were specialist caregivers for child, youth and family. We didn't come across Hari back then, but I knew Janine and Martin. And my wife and I found 243 kids in our home over a 20-year period. And so we know what it's like to be fatherless. We know what it's like to come from a background of dysfunction, chaos and mayhem. And so that was our passion. So all my girls and my children were brought up around foster children stuff, and so that my kids were exposed to all that. And it's the reason why our family's so tight now. All my daughters live in this community. Actually, some of them right next door to me. And I get to see my grandchildren every day. And I love being a papa. I love being a dad. I love being a father-in-law to my son-in-laws. I love them. and very active in our community, here, and of course further north. SafeMan, SafeFamily has given me a job to do my work. You can sack me from my job, but you can never take me from my work, because my work is who I am. And SafeMan, SafeFamily is not a program, it's a lifestyle. And it's a lifestyle that we live on a daily basis. So that's who I am. Kia ora.
Kia ora. So what is SafeMan, SafeFamily? Say man, it was created for men, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we have a saying that if the man's safe, the family's safe. And if the family's safe, your community's safe. If the community's safe, society's safe. If society's safe, this nation is safe. So that's the way I see it. You know, it's a matter of birth being a male, but it's a matter of choice being a man. And
I'll steal that.
that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
And Vic Tamati, him and I worked for the Noia campaign. I got hired to support Vic. He'd been on the road for quite a few years, travelling the length and breadth of Aotearoa, New Zealand. We did a bit of work with Peel as well, and Mike King was another one we did a bit of mahi with. And so I got hired for 6 months after I left my job next door here at the Bream Bay Trust, and Wellington said to me, look, we'll fly your wife down with you down to Wellington and see if you would like the kaupapa. So they flew us down, and you know, it was only for a 6-month contract, but 8 years later, still doing the mahi, you know. And then of course when our contract ended there, got together with Vic, and he decided, hey, let's do SafeMan, SafeFamily, let's get this kaupapa going. So here we are. You know, we only the kaupapa is only 4 years young here in our community, but we've been doing the mahi for over 20 years. Like Lance was saying, that we have been involved in a lot of things, like the White Ribbon Ride. I was involved with that. That came about through a young Nia Glassy, the young girl that was put in the dryer in Rotorua, and that really touched me.
It's alright, darling.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't believe that we humans were capable of doing stuff like that, especially to a child. Put under a dryer, you know, doing wrestling moves on it, all that sort of stuff. And then we had Moko, young Moko, and another young fellow by the name of Ngati Kaura Ngati. And so we started up the White Ribbon Ride. I wanted to, because we've heard all the talk, but not much action. So we had to find what interests men. How can we get men interested in this kaupapa? So we came up with Harleys and hot rods, and so I joined the local hot rod club. Never had a hot rod, didn't even have a bike. But as it stands, my wife let me get something that was a classic car. And so we started the White Ribbon Ride, and that was in 2008. And and it became a national thing. A group of guys called the Super Māori fellas, all from Kaitaia, the Rawiri brothers. They took the kaupapa nationwide, along with the Patriots military defence force, and the kaupapa just grew from there. So we've put our hands in a lot of spaces where we were raising awareness in the different communities, and you know, mentoring people and all that sort of stuff. So for me, it's not a job. It's a calling. You know, that's why we've lasted so long, because we're so passionate about it, and we're in it for the long run, the long haul. Although I'm 66 years old now, or 66 years young, and you know, my body's telling me a lot of things, and these gentlemen here are my succession plan. I'm mentoring them, mentoring each other. And so when the time comes, I'll just step back and allow these gentlemen to build on the foundation that's already been set, so that they'll bring their flavour and take it to a higher level, knowing that the kaupapa is in good hands. Although I'm going to be stepping back, I'll be just in an advisory role to these gentlemen here. I trust them. All of us are ex-gang members, all of us. Some of them third generation, but they've decided that they want to take their, themselves in a different direction.
Yeah.
So they're looking at it. Although most of us are faith-based, but we're not a religious. We're not a religious kaupapa. That tends to put a lot of people off. The Bible tells us to be as gentle as doves, but as sly as serpents. So whether you like it or not, the way we do things is straight from the Bible, but we don't force people to do nothing that they don't want to do. So the best thing that I can do for people is just live out the calling that I have on my life. I live it out. And having met Dennis and Liz, they're my heroes. I love the way that they do things as husband and wife, and we're pretty much the same, my wife and I. Sometimes she's actually more hearty than I am, and my kids will tell you, our dad's not like that anymore, but it's mum you got to watch out for. Yeah, but she's hearty to the days, and that's why I love her so much. Awesome. Yeah, so that's what SafeMan, SafeFamily is to us.
Awesome. Yeah. Just going back to you, Lance, when you were talking about being younger and you, Rihari, as well, what do you think would have helped you back then if it was available at that time?
Back then, I think it would have been good for to have what we have now, all the services, all the providers. Then my dad would have made the changes. No, I can't blame my dad for the way I turned out. Now that I know why he was like the way he was, why my koro was like the way they were, and if they had that help back then, then the generation now would have healed or would have been different. Yeah.
What about
you? For me, personally, I feel like connectedness. For me, I feel like I lost the connection with my mother and my father, and like that's where it began. And like Brother Lance was mentioning that, I feel like my parents never had the connectedness with their parents, and that cycle that they come from, and so they couldn't really connect with me the way that they personally should have. So I lost that connection with them. That I was so I'm a fifth child of six, and kind of like a middle child, but the side child sort of thing. So they weren't connected with their parents, is what I've learned about them, and it was hard to accept the fact that they couldn't, I guess, break family cycles that they were brought up through, and which is a big thing. I felt like I was connected because I just wasn't connected with them the way that they never were connected with their parents, because they've told me that they never loved their parents, and so I feel like that's where I kind of got my cycle from too, growing up, where I kind of lost my connection with my kids. Like it wasn't strong like how if I was with my parents, because they say at birth it's your mother that you first female that you ever grow connected to, and so I never had that connectedness with her, and it became a hard thing for me to be connected to people growing up, and so I try to find it in the wrong people in wrong places where I never would get it until I mention all the time Jesus Christ. He's the one that I'm like now really connected to, and I feel like he's shown me love that, like as they say too, we live our life by faith and not by sight, and I just have faith in something that I can't see, because I was growing up in I have to see it to believe it type of world, and for me to believe in something that I yet can't see but I can feel deep inside me, that gives me something, a sense of purpose, and makes me feel like I'm worth more than what I ever thought I would be, because I never got it from my parents. So for me, yeah, I feel like the connectedness, you know.
Do you think if you had had that connection, maybe a solid role model, a stable role model in your life may have changed how
Most
your
definitely.
life turned out?
Yeah, most definitely. So, so the first person I was given to was my dad's older sister, which her name's Afina, and she passed away when I was 5 years old, and she was the truest connection to me as a mother to a son. So she had 3 daughters, which are my first cousins, but I consider them my biological, like my blood sisters, and I was the one son that she always wanted but never had. And so when I got given to her, she passed away from dialysis when I ended up turning 5, and that I truly know that was my connection to someone that loved me, and they remind me every day on how much she loved me, and I know that my life would have been so much greater or better because of the love. And I remember how she loved me like so much, and I felt like that's where I disconnected from everything once I lost her, because life just I just felt disconnected from everyone and my siblings, and that, right now.
How hard is it for men to be open like you guys are right now, and to share yourselves and be vulnerable?
At the beginning, it was really hard until I went to my first call to men's who we in Rotorua about 2014.
2014.
Yeah, 2014. And I heard 50 men telling my story.
Wow.
And we made those connections. And right there was the fully start of the healing journey, because now you can talk and let everything that you carried for I think I was 38 at the time.
Why do you think you didn't talk prior? Why do you think you held it in? Because this is a big issue with men, you know, and the result is, unfortunately, you know, a lot of men committing suicide and things like that. I'm just trying to figure out what is it that makes it so hard for men to come forward. And
for me, it was the harden up stuff. Men don't cry, men don't do this, don't do that. So I thought that was normality. To bottle up all that mama, all that pain, all that shame, guilt, and all that, just keep on bottling it up, eh? So for me, speaking of myself, it was a macho image, I guess, too.
And how did that feel when you did start opening up?
When I did, I felt like I had a lot of weight taken off me. I felt more free, and even cried after it, because you know it's like the first time you can share your kōrero without being judged or people looking down at you. You know, signals, Yeah,
and for me, it was like Brother Lance said, sitting amongst other men, you know, part of the SafeMan group, growing from so I started the group with like only maybe 5 of us with Brother Phil, like it was only 5, and just to relate to them and their stories, and just have that feeling of I'm not alone, like I'm actually not alone, like, but I took me to hear other people's story, to open up about my own, and actually be vulnerable, and be able to set a mark where we can all open up to each other and just share what we have to share, because we're not alone in our hurt, our pain, and the things that we went through as children or whatever it is. And the biggest one for me was hearing about sexual, you know, like the sexual stuff that goes on with men, and I'm like, when I thought I had a heart, like, man, I thought like dealing with no mother or father in my life, like, to where, like, and I was brought up in that era too, or in the 90s, where it was okay when aunties were touching nephews, or like all that sort of stuff, where I kind of felt like I had seen it and knew that it was around, but I never was the one that actually got touched in a sense. But in saying that, I was touched, like, and I forgot about all these sorts of things, and it wasn't until then that I realised, like, there were things that happened to me at a young age that I didn't know as a child that wasn't okay, but now that we speak about them, like, it just brings all that back. But being amongst other men and being around someone that I felt safe with, you know, that I could speak to about it and just open up to them and know that, I'm not being judged, that I'm here for you, you know, and just that feeling of like, brother, I'm here, I'm gonna be here for you, and no matter what, we're gonna get through this. And that's where it began for me, being able to sit amongst men, but yet mentors like Brother Phil that have been through their own journey that I'm like, man, what a life struggle we've all been through, and just once again feel connected in that, like knowing that we share each other's pain and that like we're not alone.
Phil, how does it feel to be that role model? Because it sounds like that you've stepped into that place, especially for Rihari, to be that role model and mentor in these brothers' lives, to show them that there's a whole massive life out there that you can experience.
I think because being a youth worker too, I was used to that mentoring sort of stuff, and of course having children of my own, and making those changes. You know, when I watch your time with your mum and dad, the fishing and stuff, I did all that.
Wow.
Set the nets. My girls knew how to set the nets and get crabs and all that sort of stuff. Dive, did all that stuff, you know, and so it came natural really. And but when you know, having these men here, and Lance is right, we never had the services back when we were. Man, you know, if you played up, you got a number 2 haircut straight to Boston. Those sorts of things. There's no social workers that you could talk to, and you know when you look at the Once Were Warriors program, all of us seen it. A lot of us have seen it 3, 4, 5 times.
Yeah.
And you know when you look at that kaupapa, you had a Pākehā judge, Pākehā police officers, Pākehā social worker, you know, and but then you had the Māori matua that was teaching taiaha there, and that was the connection for that young fella. Not only that, when you study that program, it was the Waihine that was the enlightened one, you know. And then when you study the history of Jake the Muss, there was some raru going on the marae, those sorts of things, unresolved issues in that space. And then of course you had the sexual abuse, which was something that we all knew about. You know, some uncles would tutu, but you never said anything because you weren't believed. And not only that, but you don't want to upset your cousins either. You know, because you love your cousins and all that sort of stuff that we see on this journey. So
how real is that movie in today's communities?
Well, you know, from what I gathered, that was watered down a bit because some stuff was just out the gate that they couldn't show on that. But having said that, like the movie Boy was another one, and I watched that and I watch it over and over again. And when you look at that movie, where the young fellas the mokas are pushing Nanny's car to push start it, and how real is that?
Yeah.
I don't know where Papa was. He might have been on she was going to a tangi. He might have been on the taumata already there, but it doesn't say. So, and the real thing of that story is that Nanny left who in charge, the oldest moko, and then they showed them panning into the kitchen. He was cooking their kai. They had karakia, and then they were washing the dishes together, watching who's our comedian of the day that's passed away?
Billy T. James.
Billy T. James. You know, all that sort of stuff. And then where was Dad? He was incarcerated. So his dad sold his son a story about Michael Jackson digging his way out of a prison cell with a spoon. Yeah, you know, all those sorts of things. Then when he got out, you know, he had no direction and no purpose. But his old man gave him a Michael Jackson haircut, and his old man was wearing a patch, you know, crazy horses, and that was his role model. But then when you look at the role of the wahine, the auntie, for instance, oh auntie, can I have ice cream to you? Get a job. He said, oh, you got all the jobs. So that's true. When some of our men are incarcerated, the women have got the jobs. They get the house, they get the car, they do the kids, they do all that stuff. So now it's our time.
Yeah.
We have to start manning up. We got to do what we got to do. And when I made those changes in my life, the dynamics of my family changed absolutely. And that's why you know my wife, we work well together, my wife and I. You know, not only are we physically connected, but we're connected spiritually, and that's the thing there, because we're Wairua people, and that's what's lacking. You know, you've heard of the term poverty of the spirit, poverty of the Wairua. where everything else is physical, you can touch, but we're losing our tupuna are connected to the wairua. And you know, that's what I love about Tainui. I remember when Tainui brought all their makis up to Waitangi, they're celebrating Waitangi. All the young men came up with their boats and they went diving every day for the tribe. And then you had the karakia about 4 or 5 in the morning, and echoing right throughout Waitangi. And I went to those karakia. I couldn't understand what they were saying, but because it was our people that were doing it, you felt the ihi and the wehi, and it took you to that place. So there is power in wairua, and so that's what we emphasise too when we do our kōrero. We do karakia, and if any of the men want to have a karakia afterwards, we do that too. So yeah, physically connected, spiritually connected.
Awesome. So if a brother out there or man out there, you know, was watching this and wanted to be a part of the space you fellas have created, how would that work?
Now, if I'm not here, how would you answer that?
So we'll get them, whoever it is, to come and have a kōrero, or if they ring up, we'll go to them.
Oh.
Yeah. So most of the time, I'll ring them up, and when they ring, I'll ask them where are they, and if they're close, I'll get them to come to the office. But if they're out of town or something, we go to them and go and find a coffee shop and have a kōrero in the car.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, personally, I think link in my bio and reach out to my name, and I'm open for calls, and just call up and reach out, brothers, and you know, and yeah, I'll just ask them where they are, can meet up with them, have a talk, and I guess personally do a bit of an assessment with them, just ask them how they're feeling, what's going on for them, and yeah, just.
Because it's important is to have someone that you can talk to, eh?
Yeah. What's more important is that the phone's answered.
Yeah.
And somebody wheels on the other end of the phone. It's right there. So we have a phone roster too that right across all the SafeMan, SafeFamily kaupapa, we're on a roster, so that if one doesn't answer, then it goes to the next one. So we make sure that we don't miss any calls.
Yeah.
And in terms of sometimes wahine will ring.
Oh yeah.
And for their partners, and I get to talk to them, and I says, you know what, more often than not, when the wahine rings, the partner's sitting right next to them telling them what to say,
Yeah.
and then you hear a giggle at the other end of the phone, and he says, guess what, Matua, he's sitting right next to me telling me what to say, and I say to them, put him on the phone. Then he gets on the phone, he goes, oh, I don't know, my Matua, my missus does everything, you know. So and that's a start. And so now we have women coming to the men's program now,
Oh.
and we allow that to happen. I mean, it's frowned upon by others, but hey, we're not others.
Yeah.
You know, we do what we do, and if we know that's the right thing to do, then that's what we do. You know, so everyone matters as far as I'm concerned. If we're working with Tāne, that means you're working with family.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the way it is. And like Lance said, you know, if the men can't. Like for instance, one of our men had been coming to group for about 2 years, and he moved back in with his partner, and then things went to pieces, and he had to leave, and he had nowhere to go, so he rang the brother here, and Brother Lance gave him a bed for 2 nights, and then he was able to go back to his farm job. So it's just making yourself available, but there is a sacrifice, and it's your time. You know, we're not 9 to 5. You know, it's a 24/7 mahi. My wife will tell you, I've been in recovery for 2 weeks, and even in recovery I was at home taking phone calls because I can. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to go to them. I've got other men that I can rely on to go and do this and do that.
And what are the men normally going through when they reach out? What are their states of mindset in that moment that they're reaching out?
Yeah, well, because some of them have got the tools. They've got the tools to, you know, to help them deal with anything that would crop up. but they got to remember their wives didn't, their partners didn't do any programs, and they, you know, he's made the major changes, and yet she's not. When he knows he's got to go for a walk, then sometimes that's when they say you're walking out again. You know, and for instance, one in particular, he started running up the road. He didn't want to get into an argument with her because she could ring the police and action the protection order. And that's another thing. Sometimes that protection order can be weaponised against the men. So he's running up the road. She decides to jump in the car and chase him down the road on the car. Yeah, so he had to jump fences and, you know, just to get away. He didn't want to get into that predicament anymore. But sometimes it's just a phone call to them, just to calm the situation, and for however long it takes, and they go, oh, mate, I just needed to hear that. And sometimes I get to talk to the wife, you know, to put your partner on my phone.
Yeah.
And then you're able to calm. You know, if she doesn't want to talk, hey, that's okay too. You know, I just tell them, just hold your peace. You know, just go for a walk and don't get into an argument with her. Just go for a walk and come back when everything's calmed down. Yeah, so that's what that's what we do.
Awesome. All right, far out. Well, you fellas are doing me mahi. I just want to thank you so much for coming on and you know, sharing what you fellas do. Just really quickly as well, how far is your fellas reach for SafeMan, SafeFamily?
As far as Kaitaia right down to whereabouts in Chicago.
Holy moly!
Yeah.
So anyone in between can contact you fellas. Any males?
Yeah. So if we're on the roster, say for instance there's someone in Chicago, and they're on the roster, and someone from Taitukuto rings, and Chicago rings, picks it up, and they ask, oh, whereabouts you from? Oh, I'm from Mahipara. Well, then they says, oh, we know someone from up that way, or up in Whangarei or Moewa or Kaikoi, and then they give the name, and then we initiate the phone call or get them to ring us, so that the call is taken. So that means a lot, because they're ringing because they're desperate. And if they get an automated call in the weekend, man, that just stirs their porridge. You know, it makes it worse. But if somebody answers that phone and gets to spend a half an hour, even an hour, talking them down, that's the difference right there.
Yeah. No, awesome.
And also for in the Northland area, we co-work with a lot of organisations, so we can help navigate those spaces too, because we don't have all the answers, but together we offer the whānau a platter of options there for them.
So that's why we had those organisations here. So we partner with, so we co-labour with them. So when they come into the space, we're colleagues, not us and them.
Yeah.
You know, we're colleagues, and we're all looking for the same outcome. So we're not in competition with nobody. We want everyone in. We want everyone to make it. And that's how we are. So we have our SafeMan, SafeFamily. We have the Man Up kaupapa, the Legacy kaupapa in Whangarei, and then we have Te Whakaruruhau o Mere, that's tikanga based, and then we have other providers that so you have a raft of options, and we use every one of them.
Awesome.
Yeah, we do referrals, and some of our men go to other groups too, so they want to have a decent kai. You know, at our table, at their table, at their table.
Yeah. And I suppose the hardest step is just taking that first step.
Absolutely.
For men.
Because I believe that everyone has different needs, but then every different organisation can meet a different need also. They've all got something to offer, and that they can achieve from something that they can all give from each kaupapa.
So what would your final message be to any men that might be watching, pondering the thought of reaching out to fellas?
Yeah, just reach out, pick up their phone, and call any service. There's a lot of service providers on the internet. So this day and age, there's a variety
Do you think there is enough for men? I was going to stop it there, but now I'm fucking... Do you think that there is enough resources in that out there for men?
No. Because we struggle with when the tani got to be removed from the home for whatever reason. There's not enough housing out there for them to go. So we've got women's refuge, we've got all those other providers for our wahine, but we don't have enough for our men. So when they get taken out of home, where are they going to go naturally? Back home.
Or even to the pub. So we got given a whare from Kaingaora, but we had to find a whenua to put it on. So we haven't got the money to do that, so we'd like to get a house, a refuge for men. So that when men have to be removed from the home, and sometimes they're the victim. But they have to keep the mum and the kids in the home, and they tend to remove the men and not the because sometimes men are victims too, and the wahine could be the perpetrator. So we're looking for a home. So when the man is given a PO, police PSA, a police safety order, or a protection order, then they get sent to us for 5 days. We put them in that home, and then for 5 days they're engaged with the services. So before they go to court, they've already engaged with the services, and then we look at. Of course, there's a lot of them want to go back home and reconcile, but then where do we start? So that's what we want. We want some homes that we can set up as a men's refuge.
Man, I've never heard of that, but that sounds definitely like it would. It's needed. Yeah.
Like what Phil said, we had a guy last Monday, couldn't find him accommodation, so I was his last hope. So we gave it to him. We believe in leaving no man behind, but the whole kaupapa is about mum and dad being right. If mum and dad are right, then the kids are safe. We've had so much mums and dads being murdered over the years, kids murdered over the years. We've got to sort of stop it now. There's help out there, whānau. Reach out. Reach out. Even whānau being quiet. Go and talk to the nephew, whoever's doing it. Go and talk to them. Not enough of that. There's a lot of turning away from it. Not enough going to address those. Bro, I think you need help, or sis, I think you need help. It's there. It's there. The help is there.
No, awesome. I just want to again thank you all for coming on and sharing about yourselves and your journeys, and on behalf of me and my little team here, we just want to say thank you so much for allowing us in your space and in your presence, and we wish you the best for SafeMan, SafeFamily.
Could we just finish with a kariki?
Heavenly Father, Lord, I just thank you for this present godly appointment that you've divinely appointed us to. I thank you for Nix and her little team, Father, for bringing them along, and I ask that you continue to bless them and guide them, protect them on their journey, Father, as they journey around and do their work. I ask that you continue to pour your spirit upon me and the brothers here for the mahi that we do and will continue to do, and just ask that you continue to bless them in abundantly ways, and help them connect everyone, keep the connectedness connected with the Wairoa, the Spirit, and just continue to bless them on their journeys, Father, in your mighty Son's name, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.